Two queens, two cousins, one deadly rivalry that changed the course of British history forever. This is the dramatic story of Mary, Queen of Scots, and Elizabeth I, a tale of power, betrayal, and ultimately, execution. But how did it all come to this? Let's unravel the tangled web of royal bloodlines, religion, and political intrigue that led to one of the most famous feuds in history. First, let's start with how they were related. Mary, Queen of Scots, and Elizabeth I were cousins. Both were granddaughters of Henry VII, Elizabeth through his son Henry VIII, and Mary through his daughter Margaret Tudor. That made Mary and Elizabeth first cousins, but despite being family, their lives took very different paths. Elizabeth was the daughter of Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn, but when Anne was executed, Elizabeth was declared illegitimate. She eventually reclaimed her status and became queen in 1558 after the death of her Catholic half-sister, Mary I. Mary, Queen of Scots, was raised in France, becoming Queen of Scotland when she was just 6 days old after the death of her father, King James V. She later married the French Dauphin, briefly becoming Queen of France before returning to Scotland as a widow. Now, here's where the trouble really begins. Elizabeth was Protestant, Mary was Catholic, and in the 16th century, that difference wasn't just about religion, it was about power. Many Catholics believed Elizabeth was an illegitimate queen, and that Mary, as a Catholic and direct descendant of Henry VII, had the stronger claim to England's throne. Elizabeth saw Mary as a threat. But things got worse when Mary's personal life spiraled into scandal. Mary married Henry, Lord Darnley, an English nobleman with royal blood. But their marriage was a disaster. Darnley was arrogant, abusive, and soon became a liability. Then, in 1567, Darnley was found murdered, his house blown up, his strangled body lying in the garden. Many suspected Mary had a hand in it, especially when she quickly married the main suspect, James Hepburn, Earl of Bothwell. This outraged the Scottish nobles, who forced Mary to abdicate. She fled to England, seeking Elizabeth's protection. But instead of being welcomed as a fellow queen, Mary was imprisoned. For nearly 19 years, Mary was kept under house arrest. She plotted endlessly, writing letters to Catholic supporters and even conspiring to have Elizabeth assassinated. But Elizabeth's spies were watching. In 1586, Elizabeth's chief spymaster, Sir Francis Walsingham, uncovered the Babington Plot, a plan to assassinate Elizabeth and put Mary on the throne. The evidence was undeniable. Mary had written letters approving the plot. Now, Elizabeth faced a terrible choice. She had resisted executing Mary for years, knowing it could spark war. But now, there was no escape. Mary was put on trial for treason and sentenced to death. On the 8th of February 1587, Mary, Queen of Scots, was executed at Fotheringhay Castle. She wore a crimson gown, the colour of Catholic martyrdom. With 3 strokes of the axe, Mary's life ended, but her legacy did not. Mary's son, James VI of Scotland, would eventually become King James I of England after Elizabeth's death in 1603. In the end, Mary's bloodline triumphed. The rivalry between Elizabeth I and Mary, Queen of Scots, was about more than just personal animosity. It was about religion, power, and the future of Britain. In the end, Elizabeth may have won the battle, but Mary's family won the war. What do you think? Was Elizabeth right to execute Mary? Or was Mary a tragic victim of circumstance? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more incredible stories from history.